sit nicely. I love you. Hi, hello, my name is Madison. It's nice to see you. I'm glad you could make it. You guys know I am notoriously bad at choosing my reads. Like, there are just so many books on my TBR that I need to have in my brain and have read already, like an overwhelming amount. But I thought it would be fun to let you guys choose my reads for the week. There are so many books on my immediate TBR that I am kind of lost for choices at this point, so I decided to leave it in your hands. Instead of just letting you choose, I thought I would blindly let you guys choose my reads for the week. So I asked you guys on Instagram, which by the way, if you're not following me over there, if you want to be a part of future videos, definitely make sure to head over there. I picked 8 books for my TBR that I like really desperately either have to read, you'll understand that in a second, or really want to read and are like top of my TBR. I covered the books and I put emojis that I thought kind of coordinated with the books. Some of them are really good and you guys were in my DMs and you were guessing them. Some of them were really bad. Posted 4 stories letting you guys choose between 2 books of each with them covered. Does it make sense? And now we're gonna go through what each story was and then what the books were, obviously. Okay, let's just get into it. Okay, this first story is 2 books that I just desperately really need to read, meaning that there's another book that has come out since in a series that I really want to read, but I'm one behind in the series, so they're books that I need to catch up on. On the left, I did a little cowboy, a little horse, and a heart cowboy romance. It makes sense, right? That was for Reckless by Elsie Silver. This is the 4th in the Chestnut Spring series, and I was really desperately holding out on reading this all summer because I didn't want to have to wait too long for Hopeless. And then on the right, we have a little like merry-go-round horse, admit 1 ticket, and then a magic wand, which a lot of you guessed this one. Well, you guessed that it was Caraval. It is Finale, the last in the Caraval series, and A Curse for True Love literally just showed up at my door like 20 minutes ago. It's sitting right, I'm looking at it. And you don't know how much willpower it's taking for me to not read that because I need to know, and I know that I'm gonna see spoilers on TikTok. I heard this was rushed and I just didn't pick it up, but I want to read this before I finish A Curse for True Love. You guys know that I read Once Upon a Broken Heart first and regretted it, so I feel like it'd be criminal to end this world on the 3rd in the Caraval trilogy and not the 3rd in the Once Upon a Broken. You know what I mean? I just have to read this first. Based on your guys' vote, Reckless got 40% and Caraval got 60%. This one was not even really close. So first on the TBR for the week is Finale. I'm kind of excited to get back into this world, so I'm happy with this. Okay, for the next slide, I did 2 very highly anticipated fantasy reads. Oh, okay, bye. First, I did a little chain emoji and then like a healing heart. Chain emoji was the closest I could get to Prison. So we have The Prison Healer by Lynette Noni. I feel like this one kind of worked. Those emojis kind of slapped. You can't even lie to me. On the other side, we have a little number 1, a black emoji, and then a window, which if you couldn't guess, I feel like that one was really easy. We have One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. I really wanted to read this after posting these stories, the amount of reviews I've seen about this book in the last 24 hours. That being said, we have The Prison Healer with 69% and One Dark Window with 31%. So Prison Healer will be added to the TBR for the week. I have been wanting to read this, so I'm excited, but I was kind of internally hoping that you guys would vote for One Dark Window. I also did order 2 Twisted Crowns on pre-order and it's right there. I have a book buying problem if you guys didn't know that. These emojis make the least amount of sense, but it's because I know the least amount about the books. Okay, you have to bear with me here. Okay, on the left, we have a ghost, a clock, and a flower. I know this is bad. I feel like you're gonna hear the book and you're gonna be like, sorry? This was for The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I'll explain. Invisible, the only thing that came up was like a weird smiley face, which like that's not gonna work. Ghost, invisible, right? And then I know that she can't die or something, like she stays an age forever, so hence the clock. I did buy the special edition of this book and the spine has flowers all over it, and so does the naked hardback. So I feel like flowers have to do with something, hence the flowers. On the right side, we did a little castle, a silver coin, and then what came up when I typed statue. That statue emoji was definitely not necessary. I don't even really know where I got that from. That was for Babel by R.F. Kuang. I've been wanting to read this for literally ever. I have no idea what it's about. I googled like a brief synopsis, said that it had something to do with magical silver coins, hence the silver coin, and then it's in 1830s. I'm assuming somewhere in Europe. So I did a castle and then the statue because an old building. I don't know. Babel did win, not by a ton, which fair because this was a very blind voting situation. I don't think anybody guessed what any of these were. Babel had 56% and The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue had 44%. These books are not similar. I just feel like they have the same level of importance in literature these days, and that is why I pinned them against each other. Not that that one really makes any sense, but add that to the little TBR for the week. Last but not least, on the left we have A Little Broken Heart and then A Prince, which this one was kind of good. I feel like you could have gotten this one if you thought about it. The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I was kind of hoping for this one, if we're honest. I've been wanting to get into this. The right side we have A Little Serpent, A Little Wing, and then A Little Moon for The Serpent and the Wings of the Night. You guys know this has been on my TBR, like, I want to say since last April. This one, it got 59% to 41% for The Cruel Prince, so this will be on the TBR for the week. Just like that, this is the official TBR for this week. I have a feeling it's gonna take me longer than a week. I did not pick quick books, and it's obviously Fantasy Girl Fall, so we have a full fantasy lineup, which it could have not been a full fantasy lineup, and we got a full fantasy lineup. So at this point, we're just gonna get the reading week started because this is gonna be a long week. A lot of pages, a lot of world building. Let's just get into it. I'm gonna read them in like whatever order feels right in the moment and like mood read as much as possible, because if I force myself into an order, it's gonna feel like a rule, and then I'm not gonna enjoy the reading aspect of this, which is the whole point. That being said, I want to go into A Curse for True Love so badly. Part of me is like, if I read Finale, I can take a break and read A Curse for True Love. I won't, I promise. I don't promise. We're gonna start with Finale. I've been wanting to get back into this world for like a pretty long time, so it just feels like the right thing to do. This is the third in the Caraval trilogy, and Caraval basically follows Scarlet and Donatella. I think this one is in both of their perspectives, which is kind of fun. Stephanie Garber's worlds are like so filled with magic and like fairy tale-esque, but the main character girls in these books just have like no reason to believe in it anymore, and it's this 5 nights of magic where you can't trust your ears, you can't trust your eyes, you're like trying to find clues to like get to some end magical prize. It is like the best descriptive imagery I've ever read. I don't really understand how I put this off for so long. Hopefully this captivates me as much as the first two did, and I can read this quick. Okay, hello, I am refilming this clip because what would one of my YouTube videos be without me losing some of my clips? Because chaos all the time, goddamn chaos. Let's also completely disregard the dramatically different hair. You'll see, it's coming. Finale by Stephanie Garber. We're gonna just pretend that I read this yesterday and not a month ago. Okay, I put this off for so long, and I was going in expecting to like kind of feel really disappointed, but I thought this was like a really good conclusion to the end of the Caraval series. I do understand a lot of people saying that the ending was rushed. Looking back, I kind of see that it was like, it felt a little bit rushed. Reading it in the moment, it didn't feel rushed at all. And this had like the peak amount of magic. Just the fairy tale-ness of all of this, like I feel like the first 2 books really did lead up to here, which is like what you want in a trilogy. I wouldn't say this is my favorite from the series. Like I still would say Caraval just like holds a piece of my heart that I don't think will ever let go. I do think this was a great conclusion. It was funny, it was romantic, I cried, I laughed. I also really wish that I read this whole trilogy before going into Once Upon a Broken Heart, but I am glad that I did finish the series before going into A Curse for True Love, finishing everything that Stephanie Garber has in this world thus far. I'm really fucking hoping that she stays in this world and we get like another trilogy about like literally anyone else. Like I would love to get a chaos story. I don't know if that's just me. I feel like every time I come back to one of my favorite authors' writings, and I just like forget how much I like their writing and how good it is. Probably like settle at like 4.75. It was really good. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't like the best thing I've ever read in my entire life, but like you're so invested in the character. She played it out well. If you're thinking about reading the series, 100% do it. How have you not done it already? And also, it's like the perfect starter fantasy. And then go into Once Upon a Broken Heart, you're like set. That being said, this is kind of where shit hits the fan. So how y'all doing? Okay, Babel. If I am so fucking for real with you guys, it's been 2 weeks since I talked to you. This book was slumping me a little bit, but I did take like a good week or two. It's been 14 days since I've talked to you. Emphasis on the ish in the title of this video. And I tried to read some other things. I just like, I couldn't get into, I don't know if I'm just slumping in general. It's definitely this a little bit too. Okay, hear me out. This is so good. I don't want to say it's so good. It's really beautiful. The story is really interesting. It's a little dense. And it's not like a book that you can just like pick up and just like kind of mindlessly read. Even like all of the Olivia Blake books, you have to have your brain on like a little bit to enjoy them. This you have to have your brain on to fucking understand what's going on. I'm gonna try and explain what's going on. I don't even totally know. I stopped at like exactly the part 2 point, which was like almost halfway 2 weeks ago. I'm further than that now. I've been reading it for the last like 24 hours and I'm on page 337, part 4. Is that's 4, right? It's like 1830s Oxford, and from what I've gathered from like the whole preamble and all the annotations in here, it is historically accurate to Oxford in the 1830s, and it's about the British Empire and like how they ruled the entire world. Basically kind of about a revolutionary movement, but like a smaller glimpse in a world that's fantasy. Do you know, it's really beautifully written. If you can't tell, I've annotated like a lot in this book. Also the point font in here, like 6. Tiny. This world is run by silver, and the whole British Empire has discovered that if they engrave silver bars to words from different languages, then you can get meanings from them. So it like powers everything. It makes the boats run better. It makes the streetcars go. Can do everything. It's at Babel, which is this like prestigious translation school. So basically they like take children to live with British people from their homelands if they're like adept to language, because the only way the silver bars work and you can like make match pairs is if you think and dream in both languages. Premise is really interesting, and like the whole translation and like the evolution of language and like where words come from and stuff, super interesting, just dense and like not action-packed-y vibes. It's just informative and interesting. I'm just not like really deep in the world. Like this feels like I'm reading a really good book, not like I'm watching a TV show, but I'm reading. Does that make sense? Like I feel like most of the books that I like really enjoy and I like binge read until 4 in the morning and don't make me sleepy are books that give me the same feeling that watching a show would do, like when you're really into a show. This is kind of like watching a documentary. Even like I was talking to my mom about this the other night and she was like, just DNF it. And I was like, it's good. Like I want to read it. I want to know what happens, but it's not like pulling me in. I don't care about these characters as much as I care about like Faber and Rysand, you know? This is the goal. We're gonna try and finish this. Manifesting right now. It's slumping me a little bit. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't. And like simultaneously no thoughts at all, if that makes any sense. Babel. Okay, I don't know how to word. When I started this, I picked it up honestly expecting to love it like right off the bat. This is so many people's Roman Empire 6-star book. Like everybody that reads this seemingly loves it, and I don't know, like I just went in. This is one of those instances, going in blind was like maybe not my best move. Very first day that I read it, I read for like honestly 8.5 hours straight, like on and off, because I wasn't really into it, you know? And I got like 150 pages in, which is ridiculous. I should be able to read an entire book in that time, but the font in this is like Bible small. This is like an 1,000-page book crammed into 600 pages, and it felt like that. I got like a little bit less than halfway in. I want to say like book 2, book 3 in here, and I was like, I am like so desperately close to falling into a slump and never picking up a book ever again. I took a good 2 weeks off of this, and then I came back and I was like, I just need to goddamn finish it. And it was, I get it. It's not for me. I don't know if the whole like concept of this just kind of like went over my head. The magic system in this was so cool. I think I kind of tried to describe it before, but I still don't even think I could do a better job than that after finishing it. The relationships in this and the characters in this, they were very nuanced and very like well thought out, and like it dealt with a lot of emotional, serious topics, and there was a lot of emotion in the end of the book. By the time I got to the end of the book, I got more of the book, but it wasn't the same as like Masters of Death. Like with Masters of Death, I got to the end and I was like, I appreciated all the times that I was like, what the fuck is going on? I didn't have that as much with this. It is beautifully written. It's important. It feels important. It didn't give leisurely reading vibes. I ended up giving it a 4.25, which if it wasn't beautifully written and like a beautiful story that had a big impact, it would have been like a 3-star for me based on how I was feeling. But I did enjoy it. Like I would would recommend it to like a very specific type of person, and it was beautiful, and I still really think that you should read it, and I'm really glad that I read it. Wasn't totally my cup of tea. I feel like I was like before this kind of slowly a little bit slipping into a slum, and this is just not the one to pick up for that. And I feel like if I knew that, I would have never even made it an option in this video, so maybe going in blind was a bad idea, but I won't stop because that's the best part. I have a lot of non-finished thoughts. If the ending of this was in another fantasy book, I would have been ugly sobbing, but in this it kind of just felt matter of fact, and I didn't feel like super emotionally attached to the characters. That being said, I have the Serpent and the Wings of Night and the Prison Healer left, and I don't totally know which one I'm gonna go into next. This one feels like a really short, quick, easy little read. This kind of feels like a textbook, but I'm kind of thinking of doing this one because I've heard that this starts out slow, and I am so goddamn close to slumping that I kind of feel like this is maybe a safer bet. I was out and not with my camera when I was about to finish this book, and I realized I hadn't said anything to you guys about it, which is shocking considering how I'm feeling about everything. I literally stopped myself from finishing it. I have... where's my bookmark? I'm on page 404 of, I don't want to see what happens on the last page, 482, so like about to be done it, and it was starting to get really freaking good. I felt like I was, you know when it feels like it's getting to the final act, we're getting to the end, and I didn't want to finish it without conferring with you guys. This video has been so chaotic. I've been anywhere but home. I'm still not home. I'm at my parents' house now. I'm just such a mess. This is exactly what I fucking needed. I was about to fall into a reading slump. You knew it, I knew it, we all knew it. I don't even know if it was just Babel that did it to me. Gold, gold. This is exactly what I needed, and if it goes the way that I'm anticipating it'll go, like vibes wise, not like what's gonna happen. I've been reading it kind of blind. I have no anticipations for how things are. Well, I obviously have some, because if you've read this and I'm 400 pages in, I obviously have some. It continues being its goddamn self. 5-star read. 5-star read. Thank you for voting for this. Would have never picked this up because I've had it for fucking ever. How did I freaking wait? This perfect balance of romance, fantasy, but not confusing. Side note, I was at a MAC event last night and I got a little tooth gem. Can you even tell? It's described as Vampire Hunger Games, and I think I disagree. Like, I get where that's coming from, but like that sentiment turned me off for a really long time. That's not what this is giving me. This is giving me like a strong independent female lead who, like, all things considered, shouldn't be strong female independent lead, should be weak, and she's just defying all the odds. The romance in this between Araya and Brain, so good. I have you guys, I have the camera. I'm going to now officially read the last 70 pages. It felt wrong to finish the book without talking to you guys, because if it goes downhill, you'll get my whole review in like seconds. I need to finish it right fucking now. I have quite literally annotated every other page in this. Like, I'm fucking obsessed. Things are starting to get teary. Fuck me the fuck up. I just finished it. I think I have a 5-star feeling. I think. Thinking critically about how I feel, there's like a few small moments, gaps, things that I'm like weren't perfect. Overall 5-star feeling, which is crazy for the first book in a series that is eventually going to be 6, not including novellas. I know they're all individual duets, but like, is the second one? This was so close to perfect. I think it's a 5-star. Let me elaborate. This was somehow amazingly fantastical and fun, and like easy to read. Like, it read and like felt like the stakes of a romance book, but like was so much more entertaining with like the magic and the trials and the vampire-ness of it all. Their love was so sweet on such a dark background. How do I put this into words? Honestly, like the whole story of this, like if I was to recap this verbatim to someone, it's like a harsh story. Like, there's a lot of death, there's a lot of blood, there's a lot of gore. Not gore, it's it's not scary. But for some reason, it doesn't feel like crazy high stakes. Like, you know when you're reading books and you're like, your heart is pounding and you're like terrified? I didn't totally get that a bunch, which I appreciated. Like, I didn't need a book that was gonna stress me out. But I also found myself stopping and putting this down so often, or like reading so slowly so that it wasn't over. I never wanted their story to end. Every single moment that a turn or twist could have happened, it happened, and I was like, I can't imagine anything better happening. Every single thing that was said was so perfect. This is my very first Krista Broadbent book, but I am such a big fan of her writing style. Beautiful, but not in like necessarily like a poetic way, but in a like impactful way. Like the things, like it's very fantastical and fantasy, but the things that Aurea and Rain would say like felt impactful. Not like you chose beautiful words kind of way. Like that is a beautiful message. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Pulled me out of a goddamn slump. Time for me to pick this up. I'm glad that I picked this up first. Good gosh. I hope that this I just like get into right away. I've heard that a lot of people don't get into it right away. All that I know about this is that the main girl in this is in prison and she's a healer, and then there's like trials in here somewhere. But then I've also heard that the trials are kind of near the end. How many pages is this? Don't look at the end. Oh, this is only like 300 and something pages. So this will be a quick, easy read. I'm gonna swallow those words, aren't I? I dyed my hair. The sheer number of hair changes in this video is giving absolute manic energy. I'm fine, I promise. Well, everything's fine. The prison healer, Lynette Noni, I actually got pretty far last night. I'm on chapter 17, page 177. Kind of no thoughts, kind of a lot of thoughts. Initial thoughts, this is sweet and like super easy to read. Like it's super high stakes, like it feels very life or death, but the main character, Kiva, I think that's how you say it, just is giving like a fucking will to live. Like she is giving, there is so much beauty in the world, but like not even that, because she also is like understands the direness of the situation and is also like very pragmatic. She's just like got a lot of love in her heart. A lot of people said that this book moved really slowly. I kind of agree, because I feel like I'm still like how much I've read, I feel like what's going on in the book, I'm still like on page 25. Like I feel like I got here really fast, but like not a lot has happened. Like I feel like we're still setting up, but like it went really fast, but I feel like I'm in the beginning. So isn't that not slow? But it is slow because I've read almost 200 pages and I feel like I'm in the beginning. Really easy read. It's cute. Not the right word for this high stakes fantasy. Is this high stakes? It's fine. Like it's totally and completely fine. It's not like, wow, this is gonna be a 5-star fucking read, but it's like totally and completely fine. And just like that, we are officially done. Our Instagram chooses my reads for a week. That took me a month. You know what? I've accepted that Babel was just not the book for me in that moment, and that's okay. Finished this last night and my goodness, I actually enjoyed this so much more than I was expecting. This kind of threw me for a loop. I was going in kind of thinking it'll be fine, which is why I read Serpent on the Wings of the Night first, because I thought there was a world that this could be another Babel situation where I like just could not get myself to go through it, which is not what I experienced at all with this. I found this a really quick, easy read. I get what people were saying, kind of nothing happens until the end, but I really find if you like don't put it down, it's so quick and easy to read. Like the times that I did put it down, I wasn't like desperate and like itching to get back into the story, but I didn't like have the itch to put it down while I was reading it either. There was something about the world building and the character building that she did that I honestly really appreciated. She is in such a dire situation and she still finds like pureness and like happiness in being alive. She's so removed from people and she tries so hard to not build relationships, but she just like keeps this mantra of like there just needs to be something to live for, and as long as I have something to live for, I'm gonna fight for it. Kiva being the prison healer, like actually dealing with the people dying, like she fought so hard for people to live even when they weren't fighting for themselves, and there's something about her character development in this that was just sweet. The twist at the end of this is so good. I will say my only gripe with this book is that the story is so good. It's so good. If I were to like tell you everything that happens in the book, the storyline is so good, but like 50% of the twists, I would say maybe 60%, are revealed or uncovered in a really boring kind of nonchalant way. A lot of the things that you find out near the end of the book, most of the twists and most of the exciting stuff really does happen in the last like 50-60 pages, but so many of the reveals that were made, so many things that were like huge and gonna be huge plot points throughout, that like really needed to be discovered were found out just through like her having a conversation and somebody telling her, just like a, oh, you didn't know kind of way. I feel like the best way to explain it is like, I love when a book shows us versus it being like told to you, and it's just kind of like matter of fact. The best twist in this was definitely shown to us, but a lot of them were just kind of told. Glad that I finally picked this up. It's been on my TBR for a while, so even though I really wanted to read One Dark Window, it's okay. That was my week of Instagram picks my books. It's not really a week, but it's totally fine. Chaotic video with multiple hair changes, big gaps in time, but that's okay because sometimes that's just how the reading journey goes. A little bit, I was slumping a lot of it with Babel. I actually really liked not being in charge of my TBR, so if you guys liked this, let me know. I really want to do another one again. Maybe I'll do a TikTok chooses my reads. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I literally love you more than you know, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Love you. Bye.